So you're just looking at the same twist. What you have to discern is like how much of each twist do you have?
Good morning. Happy Friday. I have Neuro Coffee in hand and it is perfect. All right. Man, a little short on time this morning. It is intensive 13, day 2. This is the painful unlearning day for those of you that have been through this before or just playing the home game. So we got to kind of cut to the chase. Today's Q&A is another segment from yesterday's Coffee and Coaches conference call. We talked a lot about elbows, and I think elbows confuse people because people think that the elbow is somehow different from everything else. The reality is we still have to worry about orientation. We still have to worry about the bony orientation. So bones bend, bones twist, and so the muscle activity can alter positions. And a lot of times the difference between the lateral elbow pain, so the pain on the outside that we tend to refer to as tennis elbow, and the pain on the inside that we tend to refer to as golfer's elbow, the difference is how long they're exposed to these forces, and then we get a change in the orientation of the elbow. So we actually talk about that on the Q&A video today, so you will see that. That'll give you a great idea as to what you're looking at. We also differentiate between a muscular or a musculotendinous problem versus a potential injury to the passive structures a little bit in there too. So again, if you're working with throwers or golfers or tennis players, this will be a very useful video for you. If you would like to participate in a 15-minute consultation, please go to askbillhartman@gmail.com, askbillhartman@gmail.com, and put 15-minute consultation in the subject line, and we will arrange that at our mutual convenience. Everybody have an outstanding Friday, a terrific weekend. The intensive is off to a great start, so we'll probably be able to talk about that a little bit maybe next week or something. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you next week.
Extending the elbow through that medial side, that's why the bone is more protruding. So I was wondering if it was just the opposite in the other case.
Right, but don't think of it as opposite. Think of it as moving through time, because you never gave up the first strategy in the first place. You just added the next one onto it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like when we talk about the axial skeleton getting squished by superficial muscle activity. It's a progression of time, and then you start to lose things. Like you start to lose strategies. Same thing happens down the arm, because the amount of load that you're putting through the extremity is, like I said, it's just like pushing into the ground all the time. So all of the same twists that you see are happening everywhere, and they are the same because our construction is the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're just looking at the same twist. What you have to discern is like how much of each twist do you have, right? And that's just looking at things segmentally first and saying, where is my orientation? That's why understanding the superficial strategies on the axial skeleton becomes so important, because that gives you your proximal representation. So if I know where this is, and then I can identify where this is based on how it bends and straightens, then that tells me what this orientation is. And then I do my little finger test down here, and I can get my wrist position. And so now I go, oh, the hand's here, the wrist is here, the proximal forearm is here, the distal humerus is here, the proximal humerus is here, axial skeleton is here, and then there's your solution. See how easy that was?
So with the medial aspect, then what's the sequence in time that leads to that, where you have I guess I think that's called tennis elbow.
Inside would be
the inner part of the elbow is protruding.
Yeah, it'd be golfer's elbow.
I always get confused which one is which, because I
understand.
I've seen people that don't play those sports.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the sport. It's all about the orientations.
Right, but I was able to look at that kind of in isolation.
Yeah,
I mean, he was compressed A to P anyway.
Are you talking about like a pain on the inside of the elbow?
Yeah. So,
okay.
Well, it wasn't so much pain. It was just that, like, so like this inner aspect, he just had a huge space like this, and so for a rack position, he couldn't even get there. He was just like blocked because this medial aspect was just like pointing out.
Yeah, so he's got the posterior medial compressive strategy that pushes forward, right?
Right.
Yeah. So literally.
So my reference, again, I look at it in isolation. So what's the time aspect of that?
The time aspect, I'm not sure what you're asking me. Like the
Because like, so when we're talking about the lateral aspect, you're saying, okay, we're starting with pressing, you're oriented.
Hang on. Okay. So he's driving more external rotation within the arm.
Okay.
Like he's turning it outward more.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're getting. So he's
Okay.
he's twisting trying to twist the bone outward more. He needs more space, right? So he's getting more and more compressed. So he needs more space out here, and then he has to turn inward, right? To push.
Mm-hmm.
But like imagine starting a twist. So it's like twisting the towel, like we talk about. So if I get a little twist here, I won't see the twist at the elbow. But if I do this, and then the whole arm just keeps turning outward and outward and outward. I think that's what you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah. Like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the offset load, or like the offset dumbbell, and then getting ER posteriorly cleared him up a lot.
Yeah, so he doesn't have to use the compensatory strategy. So there you go. So you're creating you create the expansion posteriorly, so you get legitimate ER here versus the bony adaptation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if I don't need to twist this so much, I don't have the musculature that's twisting it into ER, right? So that releases some of its tension. So now I get a better representation of the proximal humerus. Then I don't have to use the compensatory strategy at the elbow, and then I'm driving the orientation from hand to the elbow, and then so it untwists.
So then in the other case, you're just twisting the towel inward, basically.
Yeah, kind of the other way. You're taking the twist out of the towel. So if I hold the towel here and I twist from this end only, and it goes this way, right? So if I can untwist this to a little degree, and then I twist this in the other direction, I take the tension out of the towel, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So in that case, you would just need to do like more pump handle, get the pump handle to get the internal rotation to basically. So you don't have to orient internally and then turn in that.
And turn everything together, upward. So everything goes in the same direction at the same time, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's more clarifying.
Yeah, you kind of have to start. You kind of have to start in segments, right? I got to get the right orientation here, so I get the right orientation at the elbow. I got to make sure that proximally I have the right orientation. So, like I said, it's just that sequential kind of a representation. And if you understand the sequence,
I think I've seen in your simple solutions. Yeah, I think I've seen in your simple solutions where I think you do like a bent over, like I think it's a tricep extension or a curl. I can't remember which one, but you're basically your shoulder is internally rotated, and then I think you're curling with it, but you're getting expansion.
Off my arms though.
Well, you were wearing a hoodie, so you couldn't see anything.
Oh, okay. So. Not the same one that I was thinking of then. That was probably the triceps extension. I was wearing short sleeves for the biceps work.
Yeah. So, okay, but that's a better way for me to think about it. So,
yep.
That's cool.
All right. Climber's elbow, Frederick. Is that what they're calling that? Is it because of the gripping?
Yeah, but there's two kinds of climber's elbow, because most people refer the golfer's elbow as the climber's elbow, but there's also people that get a tennis elbow from climbing.
Absolutely.
So there's two kinds, and they all do these twisty things with the twisty bars and the extensor work and all these things and stretching like the whole day.
Yeah.
Getting anything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Jen, did you see the wrist flexor element of his discussion there for your pictures? Remember how we talked about the distal to proximal influence is going to be more muscular tendinous. When you get the tendinopathy in the medial elbow, it's going to be hand wrist to elbow is the problem there, right? They're trying to create the overcoming action with the hand and the wrist because they got a delay through the elbow. You see it? That's going to be when you're
I'm still
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still piecing a lot of your elbow stuff together and hand stuff, so I will have questions to come. But yes,
just think about this though. If the medial elbow is staying expanded, okay, too long, I have to have a rate change in the flexor at the elbow, and I can't do it from the elbow to the hand. So I do it from the hand to the elbow, but that's where you get the overload on the medial aspect of the elbow at the flexor tendon, because it's an active strategy to try to close the medial elbow in time. Right. So
makes sense.
Yeah. And so when Frederick's talking about the climber's elbow, it's the same thing. It's like, so you think about the really, like, you know, when you're getting like a they do the little hook thingy like that when they're climbing, right? That's a bunch of finger flexor stuff like crazy that's going to load the medial elbow, right? So that's a distal to proximal problem. When you get a tendon problem, you know, in the elbow, it's going to be from the hand proximally. Doesn't mean you don't have any orientation problems, but like your solution is going to include this wrist and hand, because you got to reduce the concept of orientation. You got to reduce the overcoming action at the elbow.